please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on tonight's agenda is a public hearing. We got to do roll call. I always do that to you.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Mutner?
Here.
Mr. Logan?
Here.
Supervisor Wondler?
Here. I'm just so anxious to get into it. So first on tonight's agenda is a public hearing on the preliminary budget for the town of Patterson 2025.
Notice is hereby given by the town board. Did I?
Go ahead.
I did
Without
the
any
same thing.
introduction.
Yes. Notice is hereby given by the town board of the town of Patterson that the preliminary budget for the town of Patterson, Putnam County, New York, for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025, has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, where it is available for inspection during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Further notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Patterson will hold a public hearing on the preliminary budget at the Patterson Town Hall, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, 12563 on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. in the evening of that day, or as soon thereafter as may be held, at which time all persons interested therein shall be heard. Pursuant to Section 108, Article 8 of the Town Law, the proposed salaries of the following town officers are hereby specified as follows. Supervisor, $106,639. Town Councilman, Deputy Supervisor, $24,024. Town Councilman, 3, $21,372 each. Superintendent of Highways, $123,591. Town Clerk, $80,496. Town Justice, $40,690 each for 2. Receiver of taxes, $77,311. The town board will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk.
This year's preliminary budget carries with it for the town and highway departments a 2.21% increase. Special districts, the increase is 5.71, averaged out. The overall increase to the town budget this year is 3.80. I would ask that anybody who has any questions on the preliminary budget, if you would approach the mic, state your name and address for the record, and ask your questions or make your comments.
Nobody wants to be first.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on the budget? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
You gotta go Zoom.
Oh, that's right, I keep going. If anybody is joining us by Zoom who has any questions or comments on the budget, if you would unmute, state your name and address for the record, state your question or make your comment. Now we'll look for you.
Motion to close the public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is a presentation by the Patterson Library.
George Disbrow and
Denise Opromola?
trustees at the library. I'd like to thank Supervisor William and the town board members for allowing us just to do a brief presentation about our annual report. But before I begin, I just want to welcome back Councilor Spillane. It's nice to see you back with us.
Thank you.
Okay. Several months ago, all the residents should have received the annual report in the library. If you would like to go over it again, we brought some extras with us. It was given out, and I don't want to go over all of the little minutia, how many people we had come in, how many people did that, how many books were taken out, how many electronic. I don't want to do that, but I do want to talk about the library being the central cultural hub of the community. And one of the nice things that we have going on for us is that we have a very nice relationship with our partners. And if you just allow me a moment here. And just some of our partners in the community: Acme, Artie's, the Carmel School District, Friends of the Great Swamp, the Fire Department here in Patterson, the Food Pantry, the Town Board, Historical Society, the Rotary, Peterson Greenhouses, Putnam Lake Park District and Fire Department, the VFW, and it just points to how we're reaching out to the community to help us make a better place for people to come in to enjoy themselves, to serve as a respite, to come in to get some coffee, come in to get some social activities, and that's what we've been able to do.
My turn, George?
Yours now.
Thanks, George. Okay, so I wanted to just let you know, and I'll hold this up so you can see, our program showed a very strong attendance in 2023 with 3,005 children attending the children's programs. We had 2,698 adults that attended the adult programs, 689 teens attending the young adult programs, and 53,678 items were borrowed last year, along with a huge public computer use. Our museum passes, which give you access to over 20 museums, were borrowed over 652 times. So it just shows you that the community really does come in. We have a very, very strong supportive system, and they really attend all of these programs. A lot of them get sold out very quickly. Now, George would like to tell you some more about our services.
Okay, we have a lot of free services that you may not be aware of, so I'm just going to read them off because I can't remember that many. We have free notary services, free tech help, Medicare drop-in assistance, AARP tax help, homework help, low-cost copying and printing, free scanner and faxing. The museum passes, I can't begin to tell you. Family of four goes twice a year, just twice a year, family of four, saving hundreds of dollars just with the museum passes. Paul, I think you use those as well? Okay. Seed and tool library, assisted hearing on visual devices, ADA compliant patio tables and walkways, benches and picnic tables, and free Wi-Fi 24/7.
All right. So as you can see, the Patterson Library offers our community an enormous amount of the programs and services for free. On Election Day, we are proposing a small increase to our budget to cover the rising cost of its everyday operation and maintenance, as well as accommodating the New York State minimum wage increase that has hit us pretty hard. And this is only the second time in 8 years that we have asked for an increase. Currently, the average home in Patterson only gives the library approximately $286 per year out of your taxes. And we are actually only asking, this is just the average household, for about $17.19 that your taxes would go up for the year. So that is equivalent to the cost of a movie ticket or a book. So we are strongly encouraging you to flip over the ballot on Election Day and vote yes.
And just to give you an idea, what was it per month? $1.43 a month,
Yes.
an increase.
That's it.
Okay. If we don't get the funding, we may have to reduce the number of programs offered, cut back on some of our current services, and maybe decrease the amount of items available to borrowers. We certainly don't want that to happen. We really, really encourage you to vote yes on that proposition on the back of the ballot. Early voting starts Saturday at the Board of Elections, and then voting on November 5th, Sacred Heart and Recreation Department. Thank you very much. Appreciate you giving us the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
LBFW, not Sacred Heart.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
No? Okay, if you do have any questions, however, though, I have a bunch of these, but I don't know if you can see it from there. If you go on the QR code, it will answer any of the questions that you have, or you can call the library and speak to our director, Stephanie. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would somebody like to audit the bills?
Oh, sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve abstract number 19 dated October 11th, 2024 in the amount of $293,904.42. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sean, you're up.
Okay, we have a number of requests for our EMS department. They all relate to maintenance that is necessary for EMS vehicles and ambulances. The first is for the 2016 Chevy Tahoe, which needs a new transmission. The request is for All Pro Transmissions, which gave the lowest bid at $5,500 for that. Make a motion we approve that request. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the 2012 Tahoe, which is in need of front and rear brakes, cross-member A-frame support with some welding on the frame and the sway bar. The low bidder on that was Advanced Auto of Carmel for an amount not to exceed $2,200. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the last is our 2017 Ford F-350 ambulance, which had some check engine light issues and was determined that a new DPF filter and transmission lines were needed. And that is going back to Specialty Fleet Services, where we purchased the ambulance for an amount of $9,581.75. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last year, I was branded during the political season as somebody who couldn't get things done, especially with Front Street. What these same individuals who were making those accusations didn't understand is the amount of time and the amount of work it takes to get projects through in this town, to find the funding so that we're not overburdening our taxpayers. It was unfair, it was unwarranted, and these people should recognize that. It took us 53 weeks to get the permit from the state health department just to do the water on Front Street, to put in a very short extension of a water line. That being said, it gives me great pleasure tonight to introduce a series of resolutions. I'd like to introduce a resolution to accept the bid for the water treatment plant building expansion for contract number 1, General Trades Construction, and ask that it be entered into the record as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to introduce a resolution accepting the contract number 2 for the Dorset Hollow Water District for the plumbing, and ask that it be entered into the record as though read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to ask that to introduce a resolution for the acceptance of the bids for the water treatment building expansion of the Dorset Hollow Water District, contract number 3 electrical, and ask that it be entered into the record as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I would like to ask that we introduce introduce a resolution for the acceptance of the bid for the Dorset Hollow Water District water line expansion, and ask that it be entered into the record as read. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We're putting water on Front Street.
That's huge.
Yay.
It is huge.
And I will defer my executive session to the end of the meeting.
That's you.
I'm up.
What's the matter?
Are we good?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. The only item on my agenda is local law number 4, vehicles and traffic. We'd like to have a notice of hearing posted by the town clerk, Donna Ramos. If you could post that we'll be having a hearing on this for the amendments to Chapter 150 of the Patterson Town Code, and this is to address to prohibit parking along Lakeshore Drive where the walking path has been installed. So can you post that for us?
You were introducing that resolution?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution introducing local law I-4 and providing for public notice of hearing. Thank you. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Peter?
I'd like to introduce a resolution to renew our contract with Putnam County Real Property Tax Services. I ask that the resolution be entered into the minutes as so read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Other business?
Yes. I'd like to introduce a resolution to hire a full-time clerk who will work between the tax assessor's office and for the accounting department. We interviewed 5 people this week, and we chose Maria Grace, and I'd like to ask that she be hired at an hourly rate of $21 per hour as a full-time employee to act as a clerk between those 2 departments. So moved. Oh, I'd like to ask that it be read into entered into the minutes as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any other business anyone wishes to bring up at this time? Okay, I do have one. I'd like to make a motion. We need to correct an accounting error. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the reallocation of funds for the Municity 5 Phase 1. Yeah, okay. From line A3620.200 to A3620.200. No. Oh, from A3620.400 to A3620.200.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public recognition. Does any member of the audience here tonight wish to address any issue with the board? If you would step up to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Lawler, 12 Utica Road, Patterson. I'm trying to figure out this thing, what Mary brought up, the vehicle and traffic for the walking path. Could we get more explicit in that? Because there's nothing been done with it. And what would you like to do with the vehicle and traffic? Like, I'm a little vague on this.
So in areas where there's going to be a walking path, or there is a walking path, that gives us the ability to install no parking signs and to enforce it. Where there is no walking path along Lake Shore, people will still be allowed for the time to park, during the appropriate hours.
Okay, so you're going to enforce, well, first you got to establish the walking path, which has not been done.
I believe there's been a section that's been installed.
One small 150 feet.
Right. And as we install additional sections, they will automatically fall under this local law.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to obtain this. How you're going to mandate it that you get these cars off the road and they can't park over there and things like that.
We've already got signs ordered.
No, it's not the signs. Who's going to come and tow them and call the towing company to get rid of the vehicle?
Well, our code enforcer or code compliance officer.
What code enforcer?
The one that works right across the hall, Chris.
No, I'm just very curious about that because nobody's going to enforce it.
Just,
Well-
that could also be enforced by the sheriff's office, the no parking
That's
signs.
true too.
Well, I think that maybe at the public hearing that you should come and for open discussion.
Anyone else? Hearing no other comment,
Should I
entertain.
even bring this up? this has to, I'm sorry, Christopher Lawler, 12 Utica Road. This has to deal with the code enforcement and backing up. You know, I work for the Putnam Lake Park District.
Correct.
I have notices here, I don't know if you would like them, this way you have them on record. I have copies for everybody. I've called code enforcement, and I find people's garbage from all over the place, and the code enforcement officer tells me, they said they didn't do it. Well, of course they're gonna say they didn't do it. I have their addresses. I go dumpster hunting. That's what I call it. I go down in the garbage and I find these things, their addresses, and nothing ever gets done about it. So, is this a waste of my time and the town's
No,
time?
Chris, it's not a waste of your time, and simply because you may not be aware of all the steps that they've taken, doesn't mean they're not taking steps. But you also have to understand that in New York, sometimes prosecution of offenses is not the easiest thing in the world. We're limited as to what we can do. So oftentimes they will start off by just putting somebody on notice. You know, we've discovered your name and address in a pile of garbage. But to drag them into court when we know it's gonna get thrown out,
It's not.
it's just a waste of everybody's
It's not
time.
a dragging into court. It's a town's department to say, here's a $50 fine. Why can't you do that?
Because I'm telling you, Chris, I've been through this personally, that if I witness it, I can attest to it, they can prosecute it. If I haven't witnessed
So
it,
if
you,
I have proof of it,
no, you have proof that it was there on the side of the road.
no.
You don't-
No.
If you have proof,
In the dumpster, in the garbage, I've seen people do it.
Chris, can I finish?
Okay.
If you saw them put it in the dumpster, then you can attest to that fact.
It's right here.
No, that's not telling you who put it in the dumpster. That's the problem. And when we go in before the judge will not prosecute it. Hey, Chris, it may defy logic.
I don't understand it.
It may defy logic.
So if I take my garbage,
If my bag of garbage rolls off the back of the garbage truck and lands alongside the road, that's a different story, right? There, clearly it'd say, well, it's my
Okay.
garbage, but I didn't do it,
here,
I didn't.
let
So
me
that's
just
different.
give one of these to
Sure.
you, this way you can see it. Actually, you could all have a copy of it.
I'd like a copy.
It's Connecticut, it's New York.
Yeah.
There was one from Milltown Road.
All this is identification of somebody's,
Where do you think I found it?
that's not the point, you're missing.
No, the point that you're missing is the town don't do nothing about it.
That's not true, Chris.
Even when I do find it, and I go dumpster hopping, nobody does nothing. Nobody does a thing.
That's-
And you know,
but that's not
so
true,
the
Chris.
point being,
It's just the
just
copy
let
of the
people
mail.
dump garbage wherever they want.
I'll tell you what. We're gonna take this, I'm gonna go see the code compliance officer. I'm gonna have him write up exactly what actions he took, and then you'll have it in writing. How's that?
I don't need it in writing. I've had phone calls, I talked to them, oh, we didn't do it. The garbage man must have dumped it over there.
That's the problem. You
If this
can't-
is the way we're gonna go about it, that's fine. Then everybody get dumped wherever they
Can
want.
I ask a question? When you're saying dumpster diving, are you, because I'm missing a piece of this, are they
I'm
dump?
head first in there
No.
finding these addresses.
Right, so
In-
are they
in what
putting their
dumpster?
garbage in a dumpster?
We have
Yes,
a
in
dumpster.
the dumpster, in the garbage
That's
cans
where?
that are around the lake.
So in other people's garbage pails, they're putting them in?
No, in the
There-
public
There are
garbage.
garbage cans located around the lake.
Oh, I see, okay, I'm
And
sorry.
they just pull up and unload their car, their house,
Mhm.
household garbage. And then they're dumb enough to leave their address in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, mhm.
And then I call the code enforcement officer
I understand.
and nothing gets done about it. They said they didn't do it. Well, how did your garbage get here from Connecticut?
Right, mhm.
You know?
Well, I was wondering if there was, if it was a dumpster, maybe if that was located
Okay,
at the
so
firehouse or
if I don't physically
something.
see them doing it, there is nothing you're gonna do about it. That's what you're
I'm saying
telling
we
me.
cannot prosecute it in court.
it's not the point of prosecuting in court. It's the code enforcement officer going to these people and say, look what we found in our garbage can, here's a $50 fee.
We cannot charge a fine, Chris. He can go
Okay, so when-
go to the house, he can send them a letter. And I know letters have gone out on this issue. But we cannot charge them a fine
So-
without going before a judge.
Okay, let's turn it around to the other point. Now that it's election season and everything like that, on record, going back to Mike Griffin in his days, any political sign that is floating around after election time is a $50 fine if it's picked up by an individual. Go back in the bylaws, go back in the,
I'm well aware of the sign code.
well, this is something that should be in there. And if you're not gonna enforce it, then let everybody just throw their garbage wherever the hell they want.
Well, we're not gonna let that happen.
Oh, yeah, you are, you're already doing it.
Does anybody else have any issue they wish to address the board on?
No. Anybody on Zoom?
Anybody on, getting there. Does anybody joining us by Zoom tonight have any issue or question they wish to address the board on tonight? If you would unmute and state your name and address for the record.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.